Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, bringing you a review of the Tier 7 Premium British Battleship, Duke of York. Now, I know the ship has been out for a while, however, Banjaxed so graciously gifted it to me, and I should have got this review up a lot sooner, but, you know, some other videos came up and such. But, yes, this is Duke of York, the Tier 7 Premium British Battleship version of the already Tier 7 British battleship King George the V, or King George V. So this could have quite easily been the number 2 or heck, this probably could have been the number 1 ship in the top 5 copy paste battleships video that came out Tuesday. I mean, what's the difference between these two? Visually, it's pretty much nothing. I mean, something I found when I was going through the ship stats and stuff, you can play Barbie with this ship. You have 4 premium camos to choose from on this ship. You can get the tropical camo, the Mediterranean camo, which I guarantee you, if I put this camo on the ship, parked it and a King George V next to each other, you could not tell the difference, because this is the camo that the King George V has. Like, okay, look at it. And now King George V. It's the same camo, pretty much. There's what, 1 or 2 different splotches on it. Yeah, this side has some more splotches on it than the King George, but looking at it from the front, they look identical. Which, I mean, they're of the same class, but anyway. So let's go through some number differences between this ship and the Duke of York and the King George V. So start off 60,500 hit points, King George V, 60,500 hit points. Armor, I'm pretty sure the armor is exactly the same, 381 on the belt, 260 below the waterline, 32 millimeters everywhere. I'm sorry, 25 millimeters everywhere else, because it's a Tier 7. Is that 32? The torpedo bulges are 32. And 381, 260, 32, 25, 25, 20. Yep. Armor is exactly the same. The guns are where things get a little bit different, however. They both have 14-inch guns. The guns are identical in terms of HE chance of fire, because this is a British battleship, and of course you are going to be slinging HE in this thing because of one reason in particular. Well, 2 reasons in particular. 1, these are 14-inch guns at Tier 7. 2, AP is British BB AP. 3, H has a 41% chance of fire, and you have per shell, and you have 10 guns. You have these 2 quad gun turrets, and then this 1 dual turret right here, 14-inch guns. So with AP that is of a 14-inch caliber, has British BB AP fuse time, which is extremely short, and a Tier 7 battleship that can see Tier 9 battles, it's just not worth it to shoot AP at a target that isn't perfectly broadside or isn't a cruiser. Which, I mean, yes, against cruisers, British BB AP is very, very nice. So if you're not shooting at a cruiser in this thing, you're pretty much going to want to be shooting HE, which, you know, I'm not an advocate of that usually, but if you want to do anything in this ship, you're going to have to. Or unless you catch a battleship with its broadside to you, then yeah, go ahead and sling some AP at it. You get some good damage out of that, but for the most part, your primary ammo will be HE. The other reason is that the reload time of these 14-inch guns is 29.5 seconds. Yup. 29.5 second reload time on 14-inch guns. King George V is 25 seconds. Yup. Not really sure why they did that. However, she does have... Sorry, I thought it was getting a bit dry. So have secondaries, but however, they do have... I think they actually have decent range, but their reload time is poo-poo. Yeah, they have reload time is 6.7 seconds on a 133mm shell, and the range is 5.3 kilometers without BFT or AFT. So you can probably have some decent secondary range, but the reload time isn't really worth it. And plus, you only have 8 per side anyway, so Not really worth it. AA, she actually has a much better AA than the King George V. Yep. See, King George V AA range is 47. Duke of York is 58. And I don't have BFT or AFT, so this is base. So you get more, get BFT, AFT, that's going to go up. Maneuverability, max speed 28 knots. King George V, I'm pretty sure it's 28 knots. Well, yep. However, the turning circle radius is 790 meters in King George V. Rudder shift time, 15 seconds. Duke of York, same turning radius, but 17.5 seconds. I think that's a slower rudder shift time than the Curragh First. Nope, it's actually faster than the Curragh First. Okay, my bad. But still, 17.5 seconds. Where's another Tier 7 battleship? Where's the Gneisel now? Give me a Gneisel now. There's Scharnhorst. Yeah, 14 seconds here with the Scharnhorst. Oh, there's the Gneisel now. They share the same captain. 14.7 seconds on the Gneisel now. The Colorado. .1 seconds on the Colorado. So Duke of York has a slower rudder shift time than a pre-World War II Dreadnought. Yeah. So concealment is this ship's redeeming factor. You have a 12.2 kilometer detection range by sea, 10.8 by air. And I do have the concealment perk on this captain. This is the captain I got with the Gallant when I did my little spending spree. So the captain build I'm currently using is Preventive Maintenance, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, Concealment Expert, and then Survivability, Basics of Survivability. So the reason I did this is because I normally don't get Basics of Survivability. It's because of one reason. See that number right there? That's a 4. She gets one less heal than the King George V, which I really don't understand that. It's not like it's a super heal or anything. It's just the regular British BB heal. The same one that the King George gets. There's nothing special about it, just that she gets one less charge of it for some reason. But she gets hydroacoustic search. I'm not sure if they took away a heal so she could have hydro. I mean, because frickin' Bismarck over here. Not even Bismarck. Where's Gneisel now? Gneisel now's got a plane. She doesn't have. Well, I don't have a captain on her right now. Yeah, and he doesn't have superintendents, but he has 4 just with the premium consumable. He has a spotter plane and a hydro. And I really don't know why they just decided to take because Bismarck, which I guess Bismarck is a tier 8, but it's a ship that she's going to be competing against, has hydro, plane, and the regular amount of heals. So this ship's already topped off on heals, and I still have more captain points to spend, which is what I'm going to dump into BFT and AFT if I even use this ship even more. We'll get into that later. So why does this ship... I don't get what they were doing with this ship. She has a slower reload, 14-inch guns, and the only difference between her and the... well, the only benefit that she has over the King George and the other British battleships around this tier, and the other ships around this tier, is that she has really good AA and hydro. And we'll talk more about that in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and jump into some gameplay now. Okay, so the Duke of York, this battleship, the way you play this battleship is very, very passively. Because it's missing that heal, and like all of the British battleships, she has less hit points than the ships of her tier. I really do not know why they nerfed that heal like that and took one away. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know, you're trying to sell a premium battleship. Battleship's supposed to tank, but then you severely handicap it in its ability to tank. So, that's why I went with more of a survivability build on my first run through the captain skills. Normally, I have a base captain skill setup of preventive maintenance, MLG turrets, BFT, AFT, the concealment, then I go back and specialize it from there. But yeah, I just had to go for a survivability build right away because of the nerfed heal that this ship gets. So again, you have to play the ship pretty passively. You will be switching back and forth from HE and AP all the time, and it may make it worth getting the expert loader skill, whatever it's called, where when you're switching it halves the time. But in reality, it's not worth it. You're better off spending those points on some survivability skills or adrenaline rush. Because the way this ship does take damage, you will get the reload time down to around 25 seconds relatively quickly. And that's a good and bad thing because, we can finally have decent reload time on 14-inch guns. That's the thing I want you guys to keep in mind. This ship has 14-inch guns at tier 7. It's made up for in the King George because you get a 25-second reload on those 14-inch guns. So you can, at least sling HE pretty well, but in Duke of York, you can't even sling HE that well without, being on about half health. And yes, she is stealthy, and you can catch ships off guard with her, and blast them with some AP, but it's still British BB AP. And while that will be wrecking cruisers against other battleships, not that much. I mean, you will get some pretty decent pins, but you won't be getting many citadels unless you're really close. You just really, really hit the sweet spot and RNGesus smiles upon you. You can see here I'm blasting this Alabama from not that far away. I'm getting some good pins on it, but no citadels on a ship that's pretty easy to citadel. The other thing about this ship, she feels extremely sluggish. You really feel that extended rudder shift time in this ship. On top of that, her turrets have a 45-second 180 time, and I decided not to take MLG turrets because I wanted to get an adrenaline rush on my first pass through the captain skills, and man, you feel that. That's some slow turrets. I know they're not incredibly slow, but just they're 14-inch guns. I feel they should certainly have a quicker 180 time than 45 seconds. Nothing crazy, but maybe 40 seconds, 38 seconds, somewhere around there. It's just, God, these turrets. So, the short version of the ship, how to play the ship: be stealthy, find an island, be in cover, get some good angles on the enemy ships, load HE, fire, rinse, wash, repeat. And that's a very boring playstyle for me. Because this ship really can't brawl all that well because of its armor and it's lacking in the heal department. Even though I have the fire time down to, I think it's 33 seconds with survivability expert, the fire flag, it's still, and damage con 1 and 2 for the modules. It still takes off so much health because you have less health than your average tier 7 battleship. And that's good and all to get your reload time down, but I mean, at the end of the day, with the current state of HE spam with all these rapid firing destroyers and cruisers that are being introduced, it's going to hurt if you get caught out in the open, and you're probably going to go down. Now, the ship is at least relatively fast at 28 knots at tier 7. I am grateful for that. So you can at least get into position where you can get to where you want to get into position pretty fast. You want to take a second or two to get in position because of your rudder. But it is relatively fast. I will give it that. And the entire time I played this thing, it wasn't really that enjoyable. I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I do not like that passive playstyle. And you can't even really snipe that much in this thing because her range is only 18.1 kilometers. Now, if they wanted to make her a bit of a snipey battleship, then they probably should have given her about a 20 kilometer range. I know that's pushing it at tier 7, but I feel that would have been much better for this ship rather than what we got. So, it's weird because I was following the development cycle of this, and at one point this thing didn't have a heal, but it had a lot of stuff to make up for that heal. I think its Sigma was like 2.01 or something like that, and it had like a cruiser level of burn time on the fire set on the ship, so you could get your burn time down to well under 30 seconds. I think you get down to like almost 16 seconds with the anti-fire build when they were initially testing the ship, and she had defensive fire, which on this thing's AA that would be a complete AA monster. But you also have a battleship without a heal, so you at least gave up a lot. I mean, you gained a lot for giving up the heal on the initial version of this ship. And here you give up 1 heal for hydro when you really won't be that close to ever really use it. Another thing too, there's no spotter plane in this ship, so a lot of times you just feel blind in this thing. There's no spotter plane. Hydro only has a 4-kilometer range, so it's not really that useful. I mean, if you want to, like I did there at the beginning with the cruiser, it was useful there. But in reality, you probably really shouldn't be playing Duke of York this far up as I am. And you can see here where like I barely get out of this situation because of the maneuverability of the rudder. I think I actually get stuck somewhere in this clip. Thankfully that New Mexico didn't have AP loader, because that probably would have wrecked me right there. So overall, is this ship fun to play? No, not in my opinion. It's really not. Are there some good things about this ship? Yes, there are. It does have pretty good concealment. The HE chance of setting a fire is fairly high, but they don't... Oh, and you get hydro and good AA. But they don't outweigh the fact that you have a longer reload time, you have less hit points than other Tier 7 battleships, you don't have a 5th heal charge, which really hampers this battleship's ability to tank, because I think it's like almost 10,000 damage less than you can heal, and than the King George. And there's many times, because of the low amount of hit points that the King George has, I've burned through all those heals before when I was grinding up through the King George. It's not rare for me to do that because I play rather aggressively. So the only thing this ship is really good at is being stealthy, going in some islands, and HE spamming. And to me, that's just not a lot of fun. I'm sorry, it's not. There's no reason for you to buy this ship. We can just grind up to the King George, buy the premium camo, and rock some XP flags. Even I'm not even talking about the special flags, just the normal XP flags and credits flags that you can earn, and you'll probably do better. There's no reason for you to pay for this ship. This is in my opinion, it's a bad premium. The Techline version is much superior, and what you're trading off for is certainly not worth what you had to give up in this ship. So that's my review of the Duke of York. Don't buy it. If you can earn it for free, yay. It'll look. If you get it for free, you can take it out once or twice, but you're probably not going to like it all that much. And then you can just let it sit in port and look pretty. That's what this one's going to do now. I'm going to go dock it up in port. I may take it out every now and then or on stream if you guys want to see me just derp around in it, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth the money. And again, thank you to Banjaxed for sending it to me, so I could get this review out. But again, not worth it. Better off buying the premium camo for the King George and probably buying some premium time instead. So that's the sentencing on this one. It's just going to get docked and poured, and I'll look at it every now and then and chuckle. So guys, if you like the video, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We are on our way to 1,500 subscribers, and we're almost to 1,100, so we're in a little push now to get to 1,100 subscribers, which we very well may have by the time this video gets released, and that would be awesome if we actually have. So again, thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.